electronic meeting in accordance with the Tennessee Governor Lee's Executive Order number 51, extending safe, open, and transparent public meetings by electronic means, while determinations for how to return to safe in-person meetings remains ongoing. Also, we start every meeting with the announcement that if you have a conflict of interest or if you become aware of one during the meeting, to please let us know. Nobody contacted me before the meeting, so we'll move on to the roll call. So Lindsay, will you do a roll call for us this morning?
Hank Carr.
Present.
Shannon Castillo.
Here.
Tracy Johnson.
Here.
Jody Jones.
Here.
Brett Long.
Here.
Freddie Malone.
Good morning.
Aaron Murphy.
Here.
Lindsay Nichols.
Oh, here.
William Roller. Seth Thomas. I see Williams there. He's just connecting to audio, it looks like. Seth Thomas.
Here.
Craig Torbett.
Here.
Robert Williams.
Here.
And Joe Wise.
Present.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. The next item on the agenda is the approval of our July minutes, and those were sent out to you for review. You'll go through there, see if there's any corrections, and if not, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
This is Jody. I would move to approve.
Thank you, Jody.
This is Brent. Second that.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, we'll let Lindsay do a roll call vote.
Hank Carr.
Yes.
Shannon Castillo.
Yes.
Tracy Johnson.
Yes.
Jody Jones.
Yes.
Brent Long.
Yes.
Freddie Malone.
Yes.
Aaron Murphy.
Yes.
Lindsay Nichols.
Yes.
William Roller.
Yes.
Seth Thomas.
Yes.
Craig Torbett. Robert Williams.
Yes.
That was a yes for.
And Joe Wise.
Yes.
Great, thank you for that. Next item on the agenda, TIF Advisory Board recommendations. We did have a TIF meeting, and I will turn that over to our TIF Chair, Craig Torbett. Present.
Thanks, Robert. So we did have the TIF advisory meeting. I'm trying to pull up here. It's not cooperating with me at the moment, but to kind of go over our items in order. The main thing that we had to do to begin with is we considered the packet that, or the part that you see in your packet about adding TIF capabilities for our facade grant program. You'll notice in the packet there is a revised application and guidelines that really just added the tax increment funding requirements for that portion. That was considered and approved at TIF Advisory and comes to the board as a recommendation for inclusion. So we'll take that one first. That comes as in the form of a recommendation, or as a motion, I suppose.
Motion to approve.
I would second that, Joe Wise.
Okay, we have a first and a second. If there's no further questions or comments, I will ask Lindsay to do a vote for us, please.
Hank Carr.
Yes.
Shannon Castillo,
Yes.
Tracy Johnson,
Yes.
Jody Jones,
Yes.
Brent Long,
Yes.
Freddie Malone,
Yes.
Aaron Murphy,
Yes.
Lindsay Nichols,
Yeah.
William Roller,
Yes.
Seth Thomas,
Yes.
Craig Torbett,
Yes.
Robert Williams,
Yes.
Joe Wise.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
The-
Craig,
the
I'll let
next-
you keep going.
Okay, thanks. The next item that we took on at TIF Advisory is the first facade grant request under the program, and that is for the Commerce Street. This application is also in your packet. This was submitted by Nancy Fishman. You can see the architect's rendering as well as all of the plans. Consideration was held there, and this project was approved for facade grant in the amount of $7,500. This is the building that's over on Commerce Street and also has a facade facing the backside, which is onto the railroad track and onto the platform that we've, of course, been talking about trying to get development motivated and moving there over the last year or so. So that does also come in the form of a motion from TIF Advisory to fund this at $7,500 from the newly identified TIF funds.
This is Joe Wise. I would second the committee's motion.
And if no further discussion, we'll call roll.
Hank Carr,
Yes.
Shannon Castillo,
Yes.
Tracy Johnson,
Yes.
Jody Jones,
Yes.
Brent Long,
Yes.
Freddie Malone,
Yes.
Aaron Murphy,
Yes.
Lindsay Nichols,
Yeah.
William Roller,
Yes.
Seth Thomas,
Yes.
Craig Torbett,
Yes.
Robert Williams,
Yes.
Joe Wise.
Yes.
Thank you. And then the next item that we took under consideration is the improvements to the breezeway, and I believe Andrea is going to walk us through those.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to let me speak today. Our committee, our downtown committee, is coming to you all to request TIF funds for this breezeway project that connects the downtown parking lot to Main Street, as you all are very aware of. And you know the work that's been put into it so far in terms of the repair of the failing brick wall that was there before and the removal of the steel structures that were supporting both sides of the breezeway. We actually want to improve the breezeway and create kind of a more inviting gateway that connects the two areas, since a majority of the public use this as their connection between the downtown parking lot and Main Street. We feel that it's really a beneficial way to create an inviting space that would make people feel safer, more comfortable, give people a place where they can relax outdoors, and kind of feel like it's an inviting way to come into the heart of the community with the downtown area, as opposed to just two very tall brick walls and concrete to walk on. We want to create sitting areas and places where families feel comfortable to take a few minutes to eat a sandwich or have a cup of coffee, or just sit with their friends and neighbors and talk. So we actually want to create a lot of sitting areas where people can relax, as you can see in the floor plan layout below, and also just some areas that don't have tables where they're a little bit more inviting to kids to climb on, but also for someone who just wants to sit for a while and to interact in terms of, creating relationships. We want to have some bike racks in there also that people feel comfortable to leave their bikes and walk around downtown, as well as creating 2 interactive art murals that would create spots where people might want to take a picture, do a selfie, have an Instagram moment, things that create interest in the area, and also kind of put out there something that invites other people to come down and experience it as well. These are the chairs and the tables that we are looking at ordering for the spaces, so that we can create something that is inviting and feels light and airy, but is actually, it's very heavy and strong and commercially worthy. I'm sorry, excuse me, contract level of furniture. So it's going to be heavy enough that somebody can't just pick it up and walk off with it. They're also going to be tied down, so they'll be movable in the area of the table, but they won't be able to just take one and walk away with it. The colors that we've chosen, you'll have to excuse me, I have a cat who's trying so hard right now to get in my space. The colors that we've chosen were orange for the pop of color, as well as a white and a silver, which are a little bit more muted and universal and flexible in terms of their color use. And this is the mural that we created. We want to create green walls and lots of planters. The idea is that we make the space not feel like 2 large brick walls, but rather a little bit more green space and sitting area, things that feel more comfortable and softer in nature. We're proposing that we do string lights that crisscross across the space. I know all of you are aware of the Edison string lights. They create kind of a very fun, inviting environment, as well as the barn sconces that are actually hanging on the wall on each side, I believe on one side currently, but that will allow for enough light to feel like a safe area. And then the secondary light, of course, being the string lights hanging down and creating that softer, more fun environment. This is just an overhead shot to kind of show the proposed layout of the space. We want to incorporate art, sculpture, the murals, just different ways to make the space fun and make each section of the space a little bit different in terms of capturing the eye, so that people want to interact in all the spaces, excuse me, and kind of enjoy each space individually, but still keep it cohesive as an overall design. And the amount that we're requesting, of course, from you all for TIF funds is $24,975. We feel like this is what we need to make this project happen. We'll still, of course, need a little bit more, but this will carry a majority of the project and allow us to do what we really want to do in terms of creating all of these unique spaces and bringing this artwork into this space to make this whole project happen. And of course, this is our committee. This is everyone who's been involved and played a role in this to date in terms of trying to make this come to fruition.
Great. Thanks, Andrea. So from TIF advisory, this was considered and comes in the form of a motion for funding in the amount of $24,975. There are, however, a couple things I just wanted to point out that are in your packet. You'll notice the total project cost, this is on page 22 of the packet, shows a total project cost of $39,618.50. You'll notice there's some things that have already been purchased, as well as some funding that we've already provided directly from Jcda. And then the bottom of that page shows the total TIF funds that were requested. This is what they actually brought to us at the TIF advisory request meeting, was 22,755. After discussion in the meeting, we approved a request up to 24,975, which is the motion that comes to you, so as to allow for any potential cost overruns and still keeps it under our threshold for not having to go through a full gambit at county. So that does come in the form of a motion.
I like it. I will second the motion, but I have maybe a question and/or an idea, and there's a good chance that maybe it's already happened. But thinking about the colors and the use of the city's tagline logo, I just wonder if we should coordinate with marketing. I know Penzolo is on the group, but I just wonder if we should coordinate with marketing relative to colors and the application and use of the tagline.
We have the mural that you saw, the bright colorful mural, was actually created by marketing in the city, and then the color of the chairs is actually out of the and the gray are both out of the color scheme that the city has put together. And if you'll, I don't know if you've noticed, but the new parking banners actually have that bright orange strip on it as well. And so so there has been intentionality to make sure that the color scheme coordinates with the city's branding and the of course the new banners and everything that we've got.
Good deal. Thank you.
So
This is Shannon. I have got a question. So two, one, where are we getting the rest of the funding?
Have requested $4,000 from Downtown Merchant Association and another $2,000 from Blue Plum. They haven't been confirmed yet, but we think that it's going to come through for us. I don't see.
Okay. All right, that's good. And then next question is, I mean, this is a slam dunk project. We need to do it. How quickly can you guys start work?
My plan is to order the furniture pieces, book the wall painter, also order the bike racks today. So the turnaround for the furniture to arrive is 5 to 6 weeks. We'd like to start working on the painting of the wall and have it ready before the end of October, so that way people can enjoy it before the cold weather gets here.
So your goal is to have it done by October?
If all goes as planned, that's what we're shooting for.
That's great.
Yep.
So I have a question, and I love the project, and I absolutely support it. I guess this is just me learning. So using TIF funds to buy furniture, is that common? Is that a stretch for TIF funds? Just can somebody enlighten me on that particular piece? The second question is, who's going to maintain this furniture in this area, keep it clean and keep it taken care of? So if somebody could address those two for me.
I think I can address the first one, and I'll leave the second one to someone else. But on the first one, because this is a public space and is improvement and for public use, that is a easily allowable expense for the use of TIF funds. Now, I think to your point, if this was a private development project and they came to us with a request for us to fund their privately owned furniture, then no, that would not be a use of TIF funds, but because it is part of a public improvement and for entirely public use, it is allowable.
Thank you.
And because the breezeway is on city property, we've talked with Public Works that as they do their cleanup on they power wash on a regular basis, that they will can make sure that the furniture, if it gets tagged, it gets cleaned at a quickly and that type of thing. Our hope is that at some point, we know that Willow Tree has closed, but the owner of that building has at one point talked about cutting a doorway through that wall. And the hope is that there would be some type of dining establishment that would go in there that would also be willing to keep an eye on the tables and, just wipe them down if need be. But Public Works does they have maintenance and cleaning folks that come downtown on a regular basis that wipe things down.
So one of the things I think we just have to keep in mind, we're still dealing with a pandemic, and we're going to need to post something out there that this furniture is not being wiped down on a regular basis until things kind of settle out here, because well, anyway, you're just going to need to make sure it's well posted if it's not being cleaned on a very regular basis. I like the project. I support it. I don't know how it gets maintained over time. I worry about it. I'll be honest, but to can't remember whose point it was. It's long overdue. Let's get it done.
Okay, are we ready for a roll call then?
Yes. Any further questions or comments? Great discussion.
Hank Carr,
Yes.
Shannon Castillo,
Yes.
Tracy Johnson,
Yes.
Jody Jones,
Yes.
Brent Long,
Yes.
Freddie Malone,
Yes.
Aaron Murphy,
Yes.
Lindsay Nichols,
Yes.
William Roller,
Yes.
Seth Thomas,
Yes.
Craig Torbett,
Yes.
Robert Williams,
Yes.
Joe Wise.
Yes.
Andrea, thank you and your team. This is an absolute fantastic project, and we appreciate it. We all look forward to it very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here. Next item on the agenda is the nominating recommendations. So our nominating committee met, which consisted of Hank Carr, Brent Long, Craig Torbett, and myself, to elect 3 officers for 2-year terms starting September 1st. And so the slate of officers that we are recommending is Brent Long as chair, Tracy Johnson as vice chair, and Shannon Castilla as our secretary and treasurer. So this is in form of a recommendation. So we will entertain a second, and then we can also open it up if there are other nominations.
I'll second the motion for the slate officers.
Thank you, Hank. Are there any questions, comments, further nominations?
Okay, I'll start with the roll call.
Okay.
Hank Carr,
Yes.
Shannon Castillo,
Yes.
Lindsay Johnson,
Yes.
Jody Jones,
Yes.
Brent Long,
Yes.
Freddie Malone,
Yes.
Aaron Murphy,
Yes.
Lindsay Nichols,
Yes.
William Roller,
Yes.
Seth Thomas,
Yes.
Craig Torbett,
Yes.
Robert Williams,
Yes.
Joe Wise.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone that is willing to serve. We greatly appreciate that. Moving on, our chair-elect, Brent Long, will present the Home Trust Loan August payment.
All right, everyone. If you will turn in your packet to page 22, it's titled Loan Modification Agreement. It's a 4-page document. You'll see there the modification part comes down in section 4, or rather 6 and 7. I'm just noticing that they skipped section 5 here. We were going from 4 to 6. Not sure how that got misnumbered, but we've got, if you'll read section 6, it says, that's one of the important parts where it talks about, let's see here. It says the note is hereby amended by deleting the second sentence of section 2 of the note, which previously was about us having to make a $1 million payment, and replacing it with the following, which says not later than September 30th. Borrower shall curtail the principal balance by $500,000. So this is the $1 million lump sum due down to $500,000. The other part of this modification agreement is in section 7, 4.9 reserve account, which basically, I'm not going to read all that, but basically says that all excess cash flow will be set aside into a reserve account, and those monies can only be used to affect repairs and maintenance for the project, will not withdraw from that reserve account prior written consent of the bank. Very grateful for Home Trust Bank working with us to make this modification so that we can keep the JCDA in a healthy financial situation. And
Brent,
take any questions on this.
Brent, I'm looking, what page are you on?
So this is on, looks like Diana's sharing the screen right there.
Okay, I'm phoning in, so I can't see. The packet I had, page 22, appears to be still related to the Breezeway project.
All right. Well, go ahead and scroll on down until you see the page that says loan modification agreement. It's it looks like a legal document. It is a legal document.
How many pages are in your packet?
Should be 31.
31.
Okay, my packet has 20, well,
Okay, Joe, there was an email that went out Wednesday when we received this document that has.
okay, I'm sorry.
Packet.
I didn't see that. I'm looking at the packet that was sent with the original meeting request.
Yes, so I'm sorry, when we got the documentation, I sent it out in a revised packet.
Okay.
Do you need me to send it over to you real quick?
No, I'm looking for that packet now.
And
So Hank Carr here. I just I appreciate Brent bringing this up. It's very important. We all understand that, and this may have been in the original agreement. I don't know if it was or not, but all the money from the John Sevier income must go into that account, must remain in that account, cannot be used for other purposes until such time as that loan is paid in full. And so without the bank's approval, I should say. And so, and if that was in there before, I haven't looked at the original loan document, but we just all need to know that we can't poach any funds out of the John Sevier operating account for anything else.
And poach
Hey,
may
Hank,
be a strong word. We're not allowed to replace, we can't do anything without their approval, if I understand it, with those funds.
You can do all repairs and maintenance. You can, anything that has to do with
Okay.
operations, repair, and maintenance, you can run the business as you deem appropriate. And I think we've demonstrated to them that that's I think we got a good, they believe we have a good handle on that.
Hey, Hank and others, this is Jim Dorton. I just wanted to point out that we also make principal and interest payments from this account. And so that's not explicitly stated, but I think that it's implied, but just to make that clear.
So has Sunny reviewed this document?
she was, I sent it to her on Wednesday, and so I have not gotten anything back from her yet. So Brent will make a nomination that you accept it pending the approval of the city attorney.
I'll second that.
Britt needs to make the motion first.
Yeah, I'll officially make the motion that we accept this loan modification agreement subject to review by the city attorney.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? And Freddie and I will both be abstaining from this vote. So Lindsay, if you'll call the vote, please.
Hank Carr,
Yes.
Shannon Castillo,
Yes.
Tracy Johnson,
Yes.
Jody Jones,
Yes.
Brent Long,
Yes.
Aaron Murphy,
Yes.
Lindsay Nichols,
Yes.
William Roller,
Yes.
Seth Thomas,
Yes.
Craig Torbett,
Yes.
Joe Wise.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda are our committee reports, and we'll start with the John Sevier Operations, Hank Carr.
You're muted.
There we go. So operationally, John Sevier continues to move along, and from an occupancy perspective is doing very well. We did get notified last week that HUD will start their REAC inspections in October, so we'll be on that list in a pretty short window of time. But that's really good news in a lot of ways. Two things we really need to cover today. One of them is there's a section of the roof in the John Sevier that needs to be replaced. In your packet, there was a fairly detailed summary, not only of the process and where it goes. And if you'll stop right there, Diana, go back down to the picture. So the John Sevier really has two roof levels. One is a 10th floor and one's an 11th floor. The area marked in the yellow X has already been replaced several years ago, but the area called the main roof, it has not been replaced. And so we worked with M&M to get some bids from different vendors. Originally got two bids, and if you'll move on down to kind of the bid summary really quick. If you work from left to right, there were 5 bidders that looked at the work. The thing you have to watch about this kind of work is it's really, did they all bid in the same kind of scope? And starting on the right-hand side, those were 2 bids that M&M got for us. And I was a little bit uncomfortable with those. And so we asked them to go out and get 3 other ones from 3 vendors that we had worked with before. And so we built this matrix to try to understand what people were providing. And when it was all said and done, what I believe to be the right decision is to choose LaFernie Roofing to replace that area of roof. There's a very detailed summary of what they're going to do. I didn't include it in your package, but essentially they're going to, in my experience, they do a great job, but they're going to encapsulate the entire roof and all of the little penthouses up there that cover the elevators and the mechanical equipment. And the cost of that is $58,000. And we can purchase a 20-year warranty for that. And so in my opinion, it is the right decision and we recommend that we move ahead and invest. We probably ought to provide a little bit of leeway in there, perhaps a couple $1,000s of contingency money. But you can see below down here, there's some potential add-ons if there was some safety equipment to be added. I've talked to LaFernie, they don't expect any of that. But I would feel better if we could at least get a couple $1,000s of contingency for this job if we found some roofing material that was rotten or something that had to be replaced. I'll stop right there and answer any questions that the group may have.
Hank, when we, this is Tracy, when we talked through your budget needs for this year, when we were establishing our budget for the current year, we flagged about 75,000 toward this, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so we're in good shape. That's all I had.
Jim, would you please describe for the group where that money is parked right now?
Jim, you're on mute.
Thank you. At a previous board meeting, we discussed that rather than putting this amount in the actual budget for the year, we would simply make a reserve. We would make an allocation of the reserve account for $50,000 to $75,000 for this project. And that's the way we expected to fund it. It does not show up in the profit and loss budget that we put out, but we have reserved the money in the reserve account.
Thank you. I'll bring this forward as a motion under my name to approve LaFernie Roofing as a roofing vendor to do the next phase of roofing work at John Sevier for $60,000.
This is Tracy, and I'll second that.
Any further questions or comments?
I've got one quick one, Hank. There's a couple of vendors feel like we need to install gutters and downspouts. Is that something that LaFernie just said wasn't needed?
So I remember checking on that. And so one of the things that's going to happen is when with their roof application, they are removing those gutters. And if you go back up to the picture, the gutters really go from those little, what they call dog houses, down to the main roof area. And so LaFernie is actually going to encapsulate those, and those gutters go away totally.
Perfect. Thanks. You've done a great job on it.
Well, that's what was explained to me anyway.
Any other questions? If not, Lindsay, I'll have you do a vote for us, please.
Hank Carr,
Yes.
Jcda Castillo,
Yes.
Tracy Johnson,
Yes.
Jody Jones,
Yes.
Brent Long,
Yes.
Freddie Malone,
Yes.
Aaron Murphy,
Yes.
Lindsay Nichols,
Yeah.
William Roller,
Yes.
Seth Thomas,
Yes.
Craig Torbett,
Yes.
Robert Williams,
Yes.
Joe Wise.
Yes.
Great, thank you. We'll move on to the John Sevier disposition. The disposition.
Robert, we've got one other topic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
Go
okay.
ahead, Hank.
Yeah, and I'll tag team this with Diana because she's been very involved in this as well. But so in our budget this year for the John Sevier, we did approve of an increase on the salary line that was about $8,668. We haven't authorized that back to the management company at this point, but they have requested us to. They officially requested in writing that we provide salary increases to 3 individuals effective August 1st. And we just didn't get it in until the August meeting. But so what you have in your package is that official request. When we took this to the committee, the operations committee, the question was raised as to why we had not, why we weren't considering a pay increase for the entire staff. And so we posed that back to M&M because they're our management company. They run the building, these are their employees. And so we posed it back to them, and Diana, I'll let you pick it up from there. I think that request was made, but I don't know that we ever got any official response back from them.
So the request, I sent the request to them asking, like you said, why we're just the 3. And what I got back was some employees, because of their retirement, they're semi-retired or whatever, couldn't get a increase. And so they were just saying that these 3 employees have been working and have not had a pay increase recently, and they requested that. We also requested if they are doing annual reports, annual employee performance reports, and they replied to us that they do not do annual employee performance reports. And we have asked them before that, if you'll remember when they asked for funding for the bonuses last year, we did ask them that they would start, put a plan in place to do those annual reports. So that was the response back. And then, Hank, do you want me to talk about the request or on Monday?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to put the complete picture out here.
So then on Monday at the Operations Committee meeting, Mr. Gibson requested that we do a salary increase to the maintenance, not just the maintenance supervisor, but the 2 maintenance technicians as well. The concern was they were being paid currently $9 an hour, and that was below market for what they perform and the amount of work that they're being asked to do. We asked him to put that request in writing and send it to us, and we have not received that yet.
So what I'm asking the board for permission to do is to allow the Johnsonville Operations Committee to approve or authorize up to the total amount funded in the budget for salary increases to the management company. These are direct pass-throughs to the team members there. I will tell you they've done a great job, and this is not money that goes to M&M. It goes straight to the team members. And so we would like the flexibility to work through this next week and get this taken care of. It's in our budget, and we don't have all the information yet, but we think that's the right decision to make today. So the total amount is 8,600. Diana can scroll up. It's 8,600 and stop right there. $668 is what's authorized in the budget this year.
Do we need a motion to approve or a second?
I'll make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second it.
Thank you, William.
Any questions, further comments?
Hey, Robert, this is Aaron.
Yes.
I want to compliment Hank for all his hard work. He's worked hard to help pull all this together, and it's not an easy job working over there at John Sevier. So I just want to openly compliment his hard work in leading our committee.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with roll call then. Hank Carr,
Yes.
Shannon Castillo,
Yes.
Tracy Johnson,
Yes.
Jody Jones,
Yes.
Brent Long,
Yes.
Freddie Malone,
Yes.
Aaron Murphy,
Yes.
Lindsay Nichols,
Yes.
William Roller,
Yes.
Seth Thomas,
Yes.
Craig Torbett,
Yes.
Robert Williams,
Yes.
Joe Wise.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Moving on to the John Sevier Disposition Committee. There is a report in your package on page 27. So the Disposition Committee met via conference call or Zoom meeting with LHP and a number of their development partners. I believe they had at least 2, if not 3 development partners on the call with us. And of course, we had not just Jcda board members, but staff and some additional city stakeholders that were on the call with us, including our consultant from Recap Advisors, Gates Dunaway, on the call. And so you can see a little bit of what in the overview of the HAP transfer would look like. And I'll just start by saying the transfer that we are doing is called the Section 8 BB transfer, which is very rare. It's not common at all within the HAP transfers. Typically is just one property that is being transferred from one owner to the next. So to transfer it from one property to another or to multiple properties is very uncommon. But LHP, being a leader in that industry, has done over a dozen of these, and the attorney that they're working with, Steve Niles, has assisted them in at least 10 of those transfers. So they are very experienced in this type of transfer. And so what they'll be doing is identifying property and coming up with preliminary designs, whether it's new construction or renovation of an existing facility, that will then be submitted to HUD. HUD will then review those, make any recommendations. That could take as long as 9 months, but Steve felt like, given his expertise, that they could trim that down to maybe 3 to 6 months process. HUD will want to have that location to be located on a bus line and hopefully close to some other shopping, etc. So LHP has sent us a large list of information, not just with the HAP, but also information on the John Sevier that Diana is compiling and may or may not at this point have responded to them with their information. And so after they get the documentation requested, then they'll start kind of working on their package. The next steps for both LHP and the JCDA is to create an MOU that we are already kind of working on. We will give them a wish list of what we would want to see in this project. And then they in turn may have some things that they want the JCDA to do. Also, in that timeline, as I mentioned before, it could be 3 to 6 months, maybe even as long as 9 to get the approval of the transfer and the drawings. And then the expected build out of that is probably 18 to 24 months if it's a new construction or a renovation. And there could be some overlap as mentioned in there. Potential headwinds. So when you are transferring a HAP contract, typically the rents cannot be raised at the new property for the initial, I think it's 2 years. So what is usually done first is you try to raise the rents on the property before it's transferred to the other location. We just had those rents reviewed and raised kind of incrementally. I think it was just 2 years ago. So that could be a little bit of a headwind, that those rents may or may not be increased. And when you compare HAP rents in East Tennessee as compared to even Knoxville, is receiving almost double the amount that we're receiving. We're receiving roughly $550 to $600 a month, depending if it's a flat or a 1-bedroom, whereas Knoxville is in the $1,100 to $1,200 a month. So it's a pretty significant amount that that we're receiving less than what most other markets are receiving, even as close as Knoxville. Obviously, construction costs. Even though we're in this COVID environment, there's still a lot of new construction that is going up. And if you combine, we're getting into the hurricane season, you typically can have a lot of increase in lumber and other construction costs if we do have a bad hurricane. That could be, 9 months away, but construction costs could be another issue. And then finally, the last is locating available property, and we would be working with our partners with the city and development services to try to find a site or multiple sites that would be suitable and meet all the conditions that HUD may have. In addition to, this is highly likely to be a tax credit, blended tax credit and HAP project. So the tax credit can be either a 4% or a 9%. It is highly competitive for the 9%, but LHP again is the premier low-income multifamily housing provider in the state of Tennessee, and one of the most respected in the Southeast and throughout the country. So we've identified what appears to be a really great partner. And I'll stop there and ask if anybody else that was on the call wants to make comments, and then we'll try to answer any questions.
Robert, are you asking for approvals today for anything, or is this just for information?
This is just informational purposes, just to kind of tell you where we are. Hank, hopefully within the next, we may have to have a called meeting in September for another reason. But hopefully by our September meeting, we will have either the formal MOU or at least a draft that we can kind of review together. And at that time, we may or may not make a decision on the MOU. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on then. Thank you. Next item is chair report. First of all, I'll just say happy birthday, Lindsay Nichols. Thank you for being on the call this morning.
Thank you.
And so the City Commission voted last night not to renew the management agreement with the Jcda for the 3 city-owned properties, Founders Park, King Commons, and the Downtown Pavilion. We look forward to continuing to work with them and bringing events back to downtown when we can. And I know Commissioner Wise is on the call. I don't know if you want or need to make any comments or not, but
the only thing I would say after this morning, the only thing I would add, this morning's newspaper article would have given you the impression potentially that those First Amendment issues may have resulted from something Jcda did, and I just want to make clear that's not it at all. It's that piece of the puzzle is stuff the lawyers have come up with after that event occurred. So we're just trying to protect the city from potential future claims. Nothing in the past was done contrary to that.
Any other questions for Commissioner Wise? Okay, as I mentioned before, the TIF Advisory Board is going to be receiving an amendment to the redevelopment plan that Mark Mamatoff is working on. So we may or may not have to have a called meeting in September, and we'll let you know when we receive that, and Diana and staff will send that out for us to review. Then finally, I'll just make a comment, since this is thankfully my last chair report, that it's been an honor to serve as the board chair. We've accomplished a lot as a board, and I want to thank the board and the former board and staff and our city partners and city stakeholders. When you think about where we were 5-6 years ago, we didn't have King Commons. We didn't have the landmark sign. We didn't have the downtown pavilion. I don't think London Lost was finished, Brent. We've just had a lot of great things go on in downtown, and I'm just happy that I could be just a little smidgen of part of that. And John Severe, I mean, wow, who would have thought that was just a pipe dream for all of us? So it's been an honor to serve, and thank you for letting me do that. And I'll turn it over to your reports.
Thank you for your service, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
So I'll let Jim make his report first, staff report.
Okay. There's not a whole lot to report except that our year end occurred on June 30, obviously. July for me was spent trying to learn the accounting system and make sure that I could get our bills paid and so forth without making any mistakes. And that means that our June financials aren't quite finished. They are set to be released today to our accountants, Blackburn Childers. And then that'll begin a process of review that'll eventually lead to the audit being completed. So we're behind schedule by about a month, but that's all due to learning curve. And I don't think we're missing any deadlines, and we certainly are keeping all of our bills paid and that kind of thing. I have the preliminary numbers for June indicate that we're pretty much right on our amended budget. So I didn't see anything that would be a cause for concern. We may need to do a final budget amendment to make sure we're not over budget on any categories once we get the finalized numbers. So that's something we would do prior to approving the audited numbers. And other than that, I'll just say that I've really enjoyed being here for the last 2 months. It's been a little hectic, but it's been a lot of fun, and I feel a real sense of mission here, and I'm looking forward to a much more smoother accounting process as we move into the next few quarters.
Thank you, Jim. Lindsay, if you'll give us a quick update on some of the things you've been working on.
Okay. So we just wrapped up our second round of the Together Tote shopping event. I think it was pretty successful. We had 86 totes claimed and picked up at the farmers market, which is almost double what we had last time. The revenues reported this time weren't quite as significant as last time, but that's mainly just because we had a $25 minimum. Before we had packages where you could submit $50, $75, or $100. So the numbers are a little skewed there, but we had a lot more participation. I think it was a lot easier for people to participate, and I think we had a good turnout. I'm also in the process of finalizing some of the design committee needs, which will be taken care of today and early next week as well. I'm going to see Bradley Machinery later this afternoon to get a quote on some bike racks, so that way we can support a local business here for some of the metal works in the breezeway. So we'll see how that goes, but we'll most likely be getting those from him. Also working on more downtown business spotlights and management of the farmers market group, which we've had a lot of issues recently with people hanging out or trashing the pavilion. So we've seen a big increase in the way it looks over there right now, big improvements. Working with Chief Turner and also Public Works, pressure washing and things like that. It was pretty rough down there, to be honest, for a few weeks. So it looks a lot better now, and it's going to continue to be monitored more effectively as well. So that's a good summary of things I've been up to.
Thank you. Just an update. Jim and I gave a TIF update to the CIA committee of the Washington County Commissioners earlier this month. We will do the same update to the full county commission next Monday night, and that is a annual report that we give to the county commission. We will do the same to the city commission probably at the first meeting in September. And that just really shows the impact of TIF. It has some job creation numbers to it, and then also shows what is happening to properties along the block when you do a TIF project in one space, the remnants that occurs. So we'll give that report to our county and our city commissions the next few weeks. The transition team will be meeting next week. I had a meeting with Shelley Crow of the Downtown Johnson City Foundation and Tracy Johnson just to sort of share some of my thoughts and a plan that I think we could put in place to move the Main Street program over to the foundation and what that is going to entail. And then the last thing is, even though we've had 2 businesses who have announced that they are closing, I try and maintain some contact with our local businesses, and I've had 4 meetings in the last couple of weeks with folks who are interested in buying property or leasing property to open a business downtown, and so we just want to continue to remind people to shop local and really support their neighbors who own businesses that tend to be downtown. And then we've had some conversations with just organizations. Vice Mayor Wise put me in touch with somebody from one of the local churches who was looking to provide some services for folks who are maybe need some the ability to wash their hands. And so I've put her in contact with some folks that might be able to help with that project. So we're moving along, and once again, I invite you to come see our new offices. We're all settled now. We still need to buy a little mini fridge unless somebody has a college student that's moved out and one is sitting in your basement. We need to make that purchase, but all in all, I think it's going well. This building does have a small conference room, and it's in the process of being set up. So at some point when we can gather together, we will have a space for at least a small group to meet, and we've got plenty of parking, so come visit us. And that's all I have.
Okay,
Unless somebody
great.
has questions.
Are there any other comments, questions, anything for the good of the cause?
Robert, this is Jody.
Sure.
First of all, Diana and Jim did a fantastic job at the TIF, talking about the TIF. And it was so great to have a report that stood apart from other votes that relate to TIF business, so that we were able to discuss the TIF program independent of making a decision about some pressing matter. And we had a really great elaborated discussion, and it was awesome. So thank you for that. Both of you did a fantastic job. And Robert, I just really wanted to say publicly how much I've appreciated working with you on this board the last 3 years that I've been on it. You've been in this role. You've been steady, calm in the face of some turmoil, and always open to people's differences of opinion, and really willing to listen and sort of stay the course, and have put a ton of work into the Severe project in particular. So thank you very much for your service.
Well, thank you. Really, it's been an honor. I'm glad to have played a small part, and we're all in this together. We're all love our city, and particularly our downtown, and so it's been a labor of love. But I thank you for those comments. All right. If not, we will stand adjourned. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.